Welcome, everyone, to the new edition of 5-Round MMA. My name is Alex Ramirez. Alongside me is my co-host, Albert Cita, who's pounding away on these energy drinks on this Saturday afternoon. How's it going, Albert?
I got to bang, bro. Let me bang.
Yep, got another action-packed show today. Like as I mentioned last week, we film on Saturdays, either mornings or afternoons or early evenings here. So sometimes we're going to be behind on the actual events itself. So, like, for example, right now, we're recording right before the UFC Fight Night, which was supposed to be Derek Lewis versus Curtis Blades, but that is now off because Curtis Blades tested positive for COVID-19, and also
it's the only reason I wanted to watch
exactly.
that fight.
And also we're recording before the Mike Tyson Roy Jones Jr. So if we're talking about that, it'll be next week as well. So this week we're going to talk about UFC 255. A real quick recap. UFC 256, which is already stacking up already because of the results of UFC 255. We'll do a quick recap of Survivor Series. We're also going to preview, I think it's going to be the first time we're going to have an official round on AEW on 5-Round MMA. We're going to talk about their Winter is Coming Wednesday Night Dynamite
Genius title
preview. And we'll also talk about YouTube stars calling out MMA artists. So, Albert, real quick before we kind of get started here, you have kind of taken on a new hobby in your senior years.
Woo.
You are now an aficionado action figure collector, or not, or collectibles, or what's the proper?
Yeah, collectibles.
Yeah.
I started dabbling with it. It's funny because it all actually happened by accident. I don't know why I was I have kids, but that's not the reason I was in the toy section.
Okay, not creepy at all.
Yeah. But I went to go look at the action figures real quick.
Yeah.
And then I saw some cool. I know that WWE makes some cool figures. They have the elite, and then they have the basic models.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the elites, and then what caught my eye was Power Rangers figures. They had the Black Ranger. So real quick, I just typed it into my phone and just to see how rare it really is. And at the time, they were trying to resell that Black Ranger for $40, and it was at Target for $20. And I was like, you know what? I wouldn't mind having like the Power Rangers.
I'm not good at math, but it's like double your money.
Yeah.
Right?
So right away I bought that, and then I went into a big.
If there's kind of snowball.
Yeah,
domino effect.
I have to up this day. I'm fresh off the box, so I barely have made like $100 off reselling toys.
So you're buying them and selling them on on the
internet. But in my personal collection, I got all the Power Ranger, the guys. I haven't got the girls yet, but I got all the Power Rangers: the White Ranger, Green Ranger, Blue Ranger, Red Ranger, and Black Ranger.
So you're missing the Pink and Yellow Ranger.
Yeah, that's correct.
Are those harder to find, or is that...
they're completely sold out.
Okay.
And some fools are asking for way too much. So I'm going to wait because I'm hoping that Hasbro's going to restock that, and I'm going to swipe it right back up.
Up. So if you guys are into action figures at all, hit up man Albert here. He's getting a nice side hustle going.
Post to some. So I like. You know what? Now I find myself seeing they call them fake photographies.
Yeah.
I love them. So if you want to like post some and tag us in it, please. I love seeing some fig art
on IG at 5-Round MMA. It's FIVE Round MMA. So I just want to kind of share that because Albert is like super into that now.
Yeah, pretty soon, hopefully these blank walls will be filled with all my action figures. I hate that we're making it this even longer.
Yeah.
But all I do is think about the poses I'm going to put them, like when I'm display them.
Yeah.
Like I have it in my head,
okay.
like who's going to be doing what and what karate kid.
And then when you get bored, you can just switch them again, right?
Yeah, exactly. When I get bored of it,
and all that stuff.
I'll switch it all up.
Okay. Wow. So there you go. Albert Cita will see it in the future. This is your collection just expanding. And, hopefully your little kids just stay away from.
Oh, they better stay away.
Stay away from daddy's toys, right?
Yep.
All right. So, let's jump into round number 1. We'll do our recap of UFC 255. So start that timer here. We'll kind of focus on the main storylines here. Main event was a flyweight championship bout between Davidson Figueiredo versus Alex Perez, who was kind of filling in late, kind of semi-late notice for Cody Garbrandt. But wow, Figueiredo needed what, less than 2 minutes? About 2 minutes to
choke
choke
him
him out?
not call that last week?
Yeah, you did.
I said it. I said if he goes to the ground, I do not see the champ not coming out with that belt.
That was insane.
But I was I think everybody was shocked.
Yeah.
Not just how effortlessly he did it, but like how fast.
Now, do you think now in the bigger picture, we're now in the post Mighty Mouse era? Mighty Mouse wasn't super marketable, or the UFC didn't see anything in him. There's always kind of the stigma of, it's hard to sell him at this division's, no stars.
Which
here.
I thought was stupid. I think that's probably one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Mighty Mouse is like super big on Twitch, or I think it was Twitch or before that.
Dude, he had an Xbox sponsorship. Come on.
Yeah. So I guess UFC just probably didn't either way. He was too ahead of the curve, I think.
Yeah.
Where now I think he'd be blowing up now. But do you see Figueiredo as kind of a star here? He's kind of quirky. He's a hairstylist in Brazil, or was. Kind of unique fashion.
He's a sushi chef, hairstylist. I love it.
I love it. Do you think they kind of get behind him and promote him?
It's a weird branding, but I think it's working. I don't know if you saw on social media, people were posting and retweeting him collecting his 50 G's at the headquarters personally to Dana White, which I think like in a weird way that's cool. Like I think that adds to his little weirdness character, and I think his story alone, because all you see after this win, all you saw was a picture of him when he was a chef or a hairstylist, and then him being the champion.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that, being like I wouldn't say at the bottom, but you're not quite there where you want to be.
Yeah.
But he never quit.
Yeah. Well,
I think that resonates with everybody.
Yeah. Well, how many fighters, they fight and have another job because they can't, it's realistically that paydays are not guaranteed all the time, right? So people are working another job, a day job, and training to be a fighter. It's almost like probably rare the people who are actually fighting full time and that's their main source of income is actually being a fighter. So I think the more you kind of see him out here, the more he just has to make weight, and if he has these these big time finishes, I think the UFC could potentially have a unique kind of quirky star out there in Deiveson Figueiredo. Now earlier on the card, Brandon Moreno and Brandon Royval kind of threw down for a little bit. Brandon Moreno ended up winning via TKO because Royval's shoulder popped out and he couldn't continue anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Later that night, UFC announced Moreno versus Figueiredo.
I loved it.
Main event in UFC 256. Yeah. We'll talk about that in the next round here. But your thoughts on Brandon Moreno's performance?
Oh, dude.
Was he hindered at all from the injury from Brandon Royval?
No, I think the win / finish was coming regardless of that injury or not.
I think so too.
I think Brandon Moreno was doing whatever. And keep in mind, supposedly the other Brandon was supposed to have a better ground game than him.
Yeah.
And he was outdoing him. And man, I wish Brandon Moreno would have known the twister. That thing was
They called that. During the fight.
It's funny because Joe Rogan was making a big deal out of it, but I was screaming my head off like, dude, go for the twister.
But he probably didn't know it.
But he probably didn't know it, but it was there all day long. But what a performance. But with that said, though, I kind of want him to go to the ground.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that UFC 256 card in the next round here. But before wrap things up, we have about a minute left.
You got to talk about Buckley.
Okay. That
Come
guy's
on now.
knocking dudes out like crazy now, man.
And then see, I didn't even know that he had beef.
Yeah.
I must have skipped over this press conference or this YouTube video because it was a couple months old, and I for some reason it never got into my radar.
Yeah.
Until the post interview, I went right away, looked it up, and I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah. Well, Buckley said too, like, "Hey, they're actually cameras are following me around now. I'm part of the UFC embedded, so like." He kind of sees, okay, the UFC machine is getting behind him. So, I mean, if this dude keeps knocking guys out like he has been doing, man, he could be a future star in 2021 for sure.
18 seconds.
Yeah, I know.
Woo!
Also, real quick, Valentina Shevchenko did what she does best, defeating Jennifer Maia. Slim Pickens out there for her division now, right? People are talking about, can we maybe entice Amanda Nunes to get another fight out of her? But if I'm Amanda Nunes... Yeah, I mean, they're kind of close fights, but I beat you twice already. It's almost like Valentina has to prove herself to be worthy enough to fight Amanda, right?
This is a tough division. I honestly don't know. Other than the fact that you could do sister versus sister.
Yeah, her sister did win. Yeah,
it's a very tough. It's a tough weight right now.
Yeah,
there's not real. It's very top heavy.
No real number one contender.
Yeah,
pops out of your head, right? So, all right, that's it for UFC 255. We're going to come back and talk about the fallout, which is matches being made for UFC 256. So don't go anywhere.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number 2. So as a fallout of UFC 255, Dana White and the upper management of the UFC was quick to kind of get the main event and co-main event for next month's UFC 256, which is projected to take place when, Albert? January what?
It's actually December.
December. Okay, December, yeah.
December 12th.
December 12th, which is like 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Main event, Brandon Moreno challenging for the flyweight championship against Davison Figueiredo. Co-main event, Tony Ferguson, El Cucuy against Charles Oliveira. These are all projected announced fights. It hasn't been signed on the dot yet. So if you're going to go right now to look at the UFC's official website, they only have Junior Dos Santos versus
that's the only thing that's official
on the official one so far. But what else is on? Who else is on this card here?
The stackness is here.
Yeah.
We got the Jacare is in the card.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Dern is in the card. Tisha Torres versus Angela Hill. Yep. That's going to be a good one. Cup Swanson's in the card against Daniel Pineda. That's going to be a good fight.
Yeah.
And of course, Torrin Ferguson versus Charles Oliveira. But there's a ton of other fights there.
Yeah.
I was naming the names.
Yeah. So it should be a good early Christmas gift from the UFC, right?
Yep.
So real quick, we kind of touch on the performances of Figueiredo and Moreno last round. How do you see, like, a real quick preview, before we kind of see it here? I mean, Figueiredo was a beast on the ground. It looked like now he has power to knock everybody out.
And the crazy part is he's a beast standing up.
Yeah.
It's just that my boy, because he is my boy now.
The assassin baby.
Brandon Moreno is just a dog.
Yeah.
He's just a dog. I think if he can avoid the early finish in the first round, I think, because that's the other thing too. We've been seeing the champ win. Well, that's 3 finishes right off the bat that we've seen, but they've been all fast. I think if Brandon Moreno can withstand the
slow it down, grind it out,
and then he just makes it into a dog fight in the third round, I think he got it.
Yeah.
But I think if he goes too aggressive too early, it's not on his favor. Especially standing up, he goes too aggressive, he might get clipped.
Yeah.
If he goes for that early takedown, I don't know. They're both dry. I don't see it working out, especially after we've seen the vicious submission game that the champion has.
Yeah, I think too. So far, Moreno's career, the assassin baby, has been kind of like people counting him out. Right? Remember, he lost.
That's what he
lost
about.
On the first round of Tough, but still got invited back to compete on the finale card. Had a good run in the UFC. Got some solid wins. I think he had a winning record actually, but then gets cut by the UFC. Does what he has to do. I think either LFA or Combates.
He lost,
wins, and now he's back in the UFC. Now he wins, gets kind of overlooked by Cody Garbrandt, which he kind of has a sour taste in his mouth because of that. He even called out UFC. So I don't know why Cody Garbrandt got a shot over me. Does what he has to do, beats Brandon Royval, and then now he's no more contender, challenger. So, like, that storyline of him, people not maybe believing in him or being the underdog, I think will come into his favor big time. Because, they're going to promote David Figueiredo big time. This guy's a beast, like you said here. Maybe people won't give him that much of a chance, but maybe he likes being in the underdog status.
I'm pretty sure it's going to, not matter at all. But just for the record, Brandon Moreno has a win over the last person to beat the current champion, which is Jussiel for Maga.
Yep.
So I don't know if that has. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not going to play into it.
Yeah.
But I know that has to be a little confident booster for Brandon. But he does have that win over the last person that beat him.
Yeah, I think so too. And it would be a big win for Mexican fighters too.
Man, do we need it? After Cain Velasquez left,
bit of a dry spell for us. Also, the other big matchup announced. Tony Ferguson versus Charles Oliveira. And honestly, big props to Charles Oliveira for being brave enough to get into the cage with El Cucuy, because everybody's scared of him. Michael Chandler, that kind of match fell out or wasn't agreed upon, depending on who you believe here. Hey, but the UFC pegs Charles Oliveira. If you're a hardcore fight fan, this is going to be a great fight, I think, because Charles Oliveira has been one of those guys in the UFC who we kind of seen him grown, right? He's been in the UFC forever. We know how dangerous this guy is. Yeah, he's jumped up and down the weight classes a bit, but he is no easy task for Tony Ferguson. And we talked about it several times already that the path to the lightweight championship is going to be through hell, specifically for Tony Ferguson. Some other fighters who are more in favor with Dana White in the UFC, they'll get kind of a shuttle there, maybe one speed bump. But Tony Ferguson is going to go through hell to get that title shot and to get that belt around his waist in 2021. Your thoughts on this matchup when it was announced, real quick?
Oh man, I was excited just because it made sense to me because Charles Oliveira is back on the winning side of it. But yeah, I knew they were going to give Tony the hardest matchups. I don't think nobody even it's funny because I don't think nobody wants the Tony matchup, and UFC don't want to just give Tony any matchup.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense. Also, to rematch, I think Tecia Torres versus Angela Hill. Angela Hill is probably one of the most active fighters in the history of mixed martial arts. She fights at least three times a year, and this is pre-pandemic.
In 2020, she fought 4 times.
Yeah, what about 2019?
And 2019, she fought 3 times. So 4 times. My bad. So yeah, she is one active person, but she has 2 losses back to back.
Yeah,
against the Karate Hottie and Claudia Gadala.
Yeah, so I think for sure, but I think even she, real quick, as long as she's being active, puts on exciting fights. If she's willing to fight on short notice, the UFC will always have a home for you, no matter what. So that's UFC 256, December. I think is the 12th on ESPN Plus. As of right now. Junior Dos Santos.
This is what you got right now.
The only official one, but as the weeks progress, we'll probably see the official fight card kind of fill.
And by the way, I got Junior Dos Santos losing that match.
Of course, right. We're going to switch gears. When we come back, we're going to talk about some professional wrestling for the middle part of the show, so do not go anywhere.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number 3. We're going to switch gears, talk about professional wrestling. So a couple weeks ago was WWE Survivor Series 2020. The traditional, one of the big 5 pay-per-views that WWE has had for about 30 plus years now here, was main evented by, the big highlight of it was The Undertaker's kind of final farewell since he made his debut on Survivor Series. The WWE said let's send him off here until... Rumor has until the next Saudi Arabia show, and then he'll probably come back again.
Please don't.
We're going to do, I guess, professional wrestling, Dave Meltzer, the king of 5 stars. Overall, how many stars would you give this event overall?
I'll give it a solid 3.5.
3.5 stars?
I want to give it 4, but I would tell you the truth, I wasn't entertained that much with most of the matches.
Yeah.
So I'll give it 3.5.
I'll give it a 3 just for the effort here. Real quick, up to top to bottom here. Team Raw defeated Team SmackDown. The Miz, I think, the Miz won something. The Miz won
by being the
last brand battle royal.
Yeah, he eliminated Dominic Mysterio.
Okay. SmackDown Tag Team Champions. The Street Profits defeated the New Day. Bobby Lashley defeated Sami Zayn. Sasha Banks got the win over Asuka, which I thought was kind of surprising.
And there wasn't a dirty finish, but there was a dirty finish against Roman Reigns.
Yep. So, and then Roman Reigns defeated Drew McIntyre.
Dirty finish. I called the wrong dirty.
And then for the women's side, women's Raw team defeated women's SmackDown team again. No matter what.
I like that they don't list it, but the last woman standing was Lana.
So real quick, put on your Booker hat here. You agree with all these who went over on who?
I think it's everything we talked about last week. We expected all this to happen. I mean, I guess. Yeah, sure.
I mean, for me, what really made me miss the old school kind of hey, a team of heels versus a team baby faces, and we'll have, was it the Ultimate Warrior, the Legion of Doom, and Kerry Von Erich versus the $1 Million Man, and that kind of cool, find a cool theme for the teams here. But Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, this sort of fake rivalry that that WWE is trying to push on for people for years and years. It doesn't really care when you see both superstars crossing brands all the time, and
you know what's funny? I almost feel like they booked themselves into a problem.
Yeah.
Because they had the whole stable of Seth Rollins and his followers. If they would have just kept that up until Survivor Series,
Yeah.
that would have been smart because you could have put Seth Rollins' a stable versus whatever.
Rey Mysterio, his son, and then a couple other
exactly.
baby faces,
Yeah, it almost feels like they always book themselves into a problem.
Yeah.
That's what it always feels that way.
Undertaker's farewell hologram to Paul Bearer.
The hologram was sick.
Yeah.
I rewatched that just for that, and I thought that was super good.
Yeah.
As far as the production value, the only thing that I guess was like that sucked was there was no crowd.
Yeah. You kind of think that too, but I mean, also real quick too, I want to touch upon Roman Reigns defeating Drew McIntyre, even though it was kind of a dirty finish. I sort of expected that. I mean, Drew McIntyre, he is kind of sort of homegrown talent, but he did go off and do his own thing for a few years after being released. Roman Reigns, true and blue WWE creation from the mind of Vince McMahon from day one. I think Vince McMahon's always going to lean towards that. Don't you think?
You know what's funny? Do you think it was kind of like intentional? Like the Undertaker was a Vince McMahon creation, right?
Yeah.
Passing on the torch to another Vince McMahon creation, Roman Reigns, who's probably going to be the next. As far as Undertaker, I don't see Roman Reigns ever leaving the WWE.
Yeah, why would he?
I seen him being on top as long as his career lasts. Maybe that's what that was done on purpose. So
yeah, or Bray Wyatt. I think Undertaker's been very vocal about WWE. What should they do with Bray Wyatt and the Fiend?
I think Bray Wyatt's gonna have a long and good career, but I mean, the guy can't get a push to save his life.
Yeah. Any other kind of highlights here? You disappointed about Sami Zayn losing to Bobby Lashley?
I'm disappointed just because I really thought Sami Zayn should have won it. And then again, who understands this stupid ass booking? Bobby Lashley wins, and then you give Sami Zayn a win over Daniel Bryan. Like, he just came off a loss.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna do like upsets, like if you're gonna have Sami Zayn upset people, why didn't you start off with Survivor Series?
Yeah, real quick too. Are you a fan of the Battle Royals? Isn't that kind of a AEW? Isn't it AEW specialty now? The Battle Royals? You think they did on purpose for that?
AKA whoever's left that needs to be booked match.
The battle, even for both organizations.
I mean,
right?
I'm talking about both.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for round number 3. We're going to take a small break and come back and enter the championship rounds. We're going to preview AEW's Winter is Coming Wednesday night Dynamite event coming up next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number 4. So I think this is going to be our first, since coming back with 5-round MMA, our first round dedicated to All Elite Wrestling, the alternative to WWE and NXT here. They have a special coming up this Wednesday called Winter is Coming.
Genius.
Which is basically their AEW regular Wednesday show. They're kind of special packaging in it for kind of just, a little holiday treat for everybody.
I honestly think it is a strategy that AEW does because they haven't been pay-per-view heavy.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, I don't know how you expect people to pay $50, $60 for a pay-per-view every month.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But at the same time, you have to have some kind of, everything has to lead up to something.
Yeah.
And I think they've been doing, honestly, I like that they give you a bunch of free ones and then you got to pay for one. I mean,
I think it makes sense. It makes the ones that you pay for even more special, right?
Yeah.
Like kind of the UFC. We're going to have a bunch of fight nights, but when it
Exactly.
comes time to ask you for your money, we're going to stack it with 2 or 3 title shows.
but don't be asking for my money every month.
It's true.
That just be
True.
pissing me off. I got Netflix, Hulu. Don't be stacking
Disney
it up
Plus,
on me. Yeah.
HBO Max, all the good stuff, right? So this card real quick is going to be Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championships, the main event. You got the infamous Battle Royale. they're calling it Dynamite Diamond Ring AEW Battle Royale. You got Adam Page, Alex Reynolds, John Silver, Sammy Guevara, Matt Hardy. Who else is on there? Matt Sydal, Scorpio
MJF,
Sky, Sean Spears,
Wardlow.
Orange Cassidy, Kit Sabian, all those guys here. You also got a tag match, Darby Allin and Cody Rhodes versus Team Taz, which is now Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs with Brian Cage and Taz in their corner. Chris Jericho versus Frankie Kazarian, and then Dr. Britt Baker versus
DMD. Don't forget it.
a real dentist, by the way, real life dentist, against Leia Hirsch. I can't. Yeah.
Hirsch. I think she's a enhanced talent.
Oh, okay. So, in our group chats, I've been very critical of Jon Moxley. I don't see the draw on that guy at all. I'll tell you the truth. I didn't see a draw on him in WWE. I didn't see the draw on him in New Japan. I don't see the draw on him now.
Never.
Even when we were at the Double or Nothing, the first one, when he kind of came out, for me,
there
it was like
you go to our row, there was zero pop.
Well, I
didn't pop. I did not pop.
Well, you didn't pop. I didn't pop. The crowd did.
The reason I stood up because I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. For me, I just don't. I think this guy's not very charismatic.
I think, in all honesty, people are trying to build him more than what he is.
Yeah.
And I understand why. Because you want a Stone Cold type guy, especially in this era. You want someone like that. And so the closest thing that can come to it, I think people are just really reaching for it.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I have never seen a good Jon Moxley match.
Yeah.
Never have I seen a good one. I like, and look, listen, I love spot monkeys. I love it. I mean, if the whole match is just a bunch of spots, I love it.
Yeah.
But don't get it wrong. I like brawling. I like when they do a little bit more just back and forth than doing spots. But when your style is for the other guy to do all the selling,
yeah,
man, I don't know.
And you're not
man.
like 7 feet tall.
Yeah, I don't know. I just I feel like Brock Lesnar. Not only is it believable, but he does it the right way. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know if it's Paul Heyman that helps him put those matches together or what. But when we talk about brawlers and stuff like that, I prefer something like that.
Yeah.
Not this. I don't want, like, it's a poor man's ECW style. Let's keep it real.
True. And this is Jon Moxley, the character, not the guy. Because what he did leaving WWE, I think was super great for the business. It opened the door for a lot more guys. Okay, AEW's for real. They're going to pay people here. You know, like, again, the character Jon Moxley, not the person or whatever. To me, he's boring.
And in all honesty,
character. I don't get trolls on here.
Yeah. He belongs, like, his style and everything belongs. I want to see his matches with him with Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
You know, Darby Allin, the Warhawk, Lance, what's his name?
Lance Hoyt.
Lance Hoyt. Like, those matches, I see the appeal to it, and I see a fan base there, but I don't think he's a top guy. Come on.
Kenny Omega was a big steal for AEW. But has his run now been what you thought it was going to be when he originally?
This is the part that sucks. That this is a company that was built with wrestlers.
Yeah,
it's weird because you can't push yourself and then not get backlash.
Yeah,
you get me? If Kenny comes into AEW, becomes the first champ, gets pushed to the moon,
it was expected.
Was everyone? Yeah, they're gonna
of course
attack.
Did.
Yeah, so. I think they tried their hardest to figure out a route to still keep Kenny on top and working the most, but at the same time not outshining the cast while they get buried, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know how else, I don't know how I would have booked it, but it is definitely, I feel like Kenny Omega's stock kind of went a little bit down and the steam isn't as hot.
He went from one of their main stars to just another guy just another guy on the roster.
But it's again, like, what do you do though? Like,
yeah, but then like
you can't. You're gonna get criticized if he gets pushed to
but
the
then
moon.
you
and then you're gonna get criticized if you don't.
But then you pair him with another guy who was a steal with Adam Page, Hangman. He turned down all his NXT money to come with the AEW, and he put them together, and now they're a tag team. Honestly, and it doesn't really do anything. I mean,
honestly, and
then we're stuck with the Cody Rhodes and Jericho for a year and a half.
I was perfectly fine with Chris Jericho being the first champion. It legitimized the whole AEW. Yeah. But it shouldn't have been Jon Moxley. It should have been Adam Page. 2 reasons. One, it's your guy.
Yeah.
This isn't some ex-WWE guy. You know, even though I know Jon Moxley didn't want to be associated with WWE anymore, whatever, you're a WWE guy. And for him to be the next champion after Chris Jericho being another WWE guy, it was bad. I think Hangman should have been the second champion. He should have had a lengthy reign, and it should have been Kenny Omega. Finally,
Then you got 2 AEW originals kind of coming in, right?
That's the kid you pushed to the moon. And I don't think you get criticism for pushing Hangman to the moon if he's your second champ.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think that was a big. I think they dropped the ball as far as that's concerned. But going back to this.
Also, real quick,
I'm not that excited for the main event.
It's free too. Real quick too, I want to touch base with Chris Jericho versus Frankie Kazarian. Albert and I have been in the SoCal professional wrestling scene.
We know Frankie Kazarian's
about 12 years.
Career.
I mean, this dude here on a national level, kind of semi-known, right, for hardcore fans. But if you're in Southern California, Frankie Kazarian is up there with him. Christopher Daniels, Scorpio Sky. I'm gonna throw. Remember Scott Lost from the original?
Lost,
those guys out there in SoCal who kind of made that thing.
Scott Lost, make a comeback.
So that's it for round number 4 here. We're gonna come back and talk about Logan Paul calling out. Or anybody really.
Ben Askren, any MMA fighter.
So don't go ever come up next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back, 5th and final round here. So Jake Paul is a YouTube quote unquote star in present.
Just call him a social media
influencer.
Who
is influencing? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know who he is or what he does or why he's on here. But I do know that he boxes people, right?
Yes, this will be his third.
So
third fight. He first fought KSI's brother.
Okay.
And then there's another social media guy out there that was boxing.
Okay.
And then he boxed that guy. Or it could be the other way around. He could have boxed the other guy first and then KSI's brother.
So now
the point is he's only fought social media guys.
So now he's fighting former NBA star Nate Robinson on the same card that Mike Tyson is fighting Roy Jones Jr. on. I think the co-main event. It's a cruiserweight 6-round fight. But the reason why we're talking about this Jake Paul guy is because he's been calling out like Conor McGregor. Or I think he wants to fight like Jorge Masvidal, and I kind of
Ben Askren.
Just in passing, he mentioned Ben Askren's name, and then obviously Ben Askren's not really doing much these days. He kind of said, "Oh, you're gonna talk about me? Well, maybe I'll come. I don't know how to box, but I'm pretty sure I could beat you up." And now there's also talk about Ben Askren coming out of retirement because he had hip surgery. He's on feeling a lot better. Do you see Ben Askren and Jake Paul kind of going at it somewhere down? I don't know where this fight will take place at. To tell you the truth.
I don't think it's going to happen, but if it happens, I hope it's MMA. Because if it's MMA, Ben Askren's going to wipe the floor.
Yeah, well, because if Jake Paul agrees to that, he's an idiot.
Boxing, I'm not going to lie to you. It might be even. Because I seen Jake Paul box.
Okay.
He knows how to.
He can box.
He can box.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
low level booking box.
On the other hand, people have been putting up Ben Askren's shadow boxing, and it doesn't look that good.
He's a wrestler. He's a grappler. All of his wins have come by grappling the guy to death here. So even he was I'm not a boxer, but I'm pretty sure I could beat this guy up. But I think if Jake Paul were smart, he would agree to boxing.
Oh no, yeah.
But I just don't see it got us talking about him. It got us talking about who Jake Paul is, but. I don't even know where that take place at. Like
it would take place in the next Mike Tyson headline card.
Wherever Mike Tyson wants to.
Yeah, there's plenty of people out there for Mike to fight.
So Nate Robinson, are you familiar with his boxing?
I am not familiar with his boxing, but I'm very familiar with his basketball.
Playing,
That's I was never really a big fan of Nate Robinson just because he never played with the team that I liked. I mean, New York was Lakers' enemy, so. Matter of fact, at one point I didn't really like the guy.
Probably came on in the scene when he was with Chicago.
Yeah,
right?
And when he played with New Orleans, it was before my boy Lonzo Ball was in it. So I never really followed his career too much, but I knew him as a basketball player.
So you see, also too, we kind of go back to Jake Paul real quick. I kind of see the Masvidal thing maybe happening down the line because his Masvidal is crazy like that.
Dude, Masvidal used to do street fights.
Yeah,
so he don't care.
He'll do it.
He'll be like, I'll run up on you. What's up?
So again, it might have to do with I don't know what.
And I'll tell you this right now, Jake Paul, you don't want none of Masvidal will eat that up.
You do not. So I think that's pretty much all we're going to kind of touch upon now with that Jake Paul and Ben Askren thing. Do you think Ben Askren's going to come out of retirement and actually compete in mixed martial arts again? He said his hips.
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so. I think his 2 losses in the UFC does not reflect who Ben Askren is as an MMA fighter. Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't know what he's capable of. And if you go back to the Damian Maia fight, he had it won. It just pains me that he went away from his game because he was tearing up Damian Maia. Yeah. I think so. The George Masvidal, I don't care what any of you MMA nerds out there tells me. That result does not happen more than once.
9 out of 10 times, right?
Yeah, 9 out of 10 times it does not go down like that.
Yeah,
it does not go down like that. It's just one of those things. I feel that George knew what his reaction to something. You know, everybody knows that he's going to go for a takedown.
Yeah,
and I think George Masvidal knew what can cause that reaction. Yeah. And now that Ben Askren sees that he should have not done what he did. Yeah. It doesn't happen again.
It won't happen again.
It will not happen again. And I'm going to tell you right now, because you saw the Usman fight. If Ben Askren gets George Masvidal on the ground, I think it's over.
That's going to be ugly.
So I do hope Ben Askren does come back.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think he has, like you said, what he did in the UFC is not real equate what he did outside the UFC. Dude was a beast of a champion. He manhandled other fighters and did what he wanted with them in the cage, which is not a lot of guys can really do that. And maybe he has one more run in him. We'll see. If he's up for it. If not, maybe he could box Jake Paul and for charity. I don't know, whoever Jake Paul is. So that's it for this week's show. Thank everybody for tuning in here. So next week we'll talk about we'll have our reactions to the Mike Tyson fight and some other good stuff as well. Until then, make sure to keep up to date with us via social media on Twitter and Instagram at FiveRoundMMA. It's FIVE Round MMA. Make sure to follow, visit FiveRoundMMA.com and also go to our YouTube channel. Just type in FiveRoundMMA. Like, subscribe, comment, please. Yeah, Albert, we're almost like how many shows in now? You feeling good? Feeling loose?
We're 2 shows in, and I do want to take this moment to apologize to anybody that views or listens to our podcast. 100%, it's my fault that the video and audio, if you got it, the iTunes right off the bat, it was messed up too. That's 100% my fault.
Yeah,
but we took a 2-year break. Believe it or not, I work outside of this podcast. And I just didn't have the wheels spinning as good as I used to, and I jacked it up. But the first one came out good. Second one, I'm sorry, but it won't happen again. I promise. I'm gonna triple check it before I export it, before I upload, before I launch it. I know that was a jabroni move, but guess what? I'm a jabron for that.
Just so you guys know, we will never apologize for our opinions or our takes.
No.
But we will apologize for technical issues.
Yeah, technical issues, I'll take it all day. But please believe when I say George Masvidal does not beat Ben Askren in the rematch, I mean it.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for tuning in.